that God has given us, even before we were born or committed our first offense of sin. Jesus, throughout his life and ministry, extended grace to those in society who most didn't think deserved it, because they were not doing the right things: the tax collector, the questionable women, the deeply ill. Very recently, I've begun to see a kind of a shift in what I believe to be true about God and Jesus and what it means to be a disciple of Christ. And it's really been this: the most important thing we can do as a Christian is not necessarily to do the right thing and avoid doing the wrong thing. Now, I think being a disciple of Christ is more than just that, because that way of thinking is primarily concerned about what any one person can do, and in a lot of ways it leaves God out of the equation. It's a very individualistic way of thinking, and Jesus time and time again preached and taught against that way of belief and believing. It's more important that we live in the reality that every single one of us is a precious child of God, who has received unconditional grace from an all-loving God, and we are to offer that same grace to others. When we live as people filled with grace, then it's not about us and our abilities or lack thereof at all. Instead, it's kind of about God. And after all, isn't that what being a Christian is all about? When we know about the grace that is available for us, then it makes confessing, acknowledging sin much easier. Ultimate grace frees us from the burdens of life so that we can dance and sing a new song. And that's something that, quite frankly, we don't want to miss out on. I wonder, who in your life do you need to ask forgiveness from? How long have you needed to do it? And what's holding you back? I hope that at the very least, you will pray about saying, "I'm sorry" to someone you wronged. And if you do choose to ask forgiveness, know you enter into the situation only able to control yourself. You do not know how the other person will react, if they will forgive, or if they will ignore you. And ultimately, that's not up to you. What you do have absolute control over is taking a very important action to step into the gift of grace that another has the ability to offer you. But if that person does not or cannot offer you grace, God hands out a full helping of grace freely to all without reservation or the requirement of rightness from the receiver. And the whole church said,